everyone, my name is Drew Staples, and here I'm going to be starting a series on the introduction to Python. So, with the way I want to approach this learning method is from a linear approach, also balanced with the top-down approach. So, I want to teach you guys all the basics leading up to the more complicated things, but also implementing that top-down approach of actually having you guys code along with me and being able to make things, because at least from my point, at least my perspective, everyone learns differently, but this is the best way I learn is through coding. And also too with when it comes to different styles of learning, you guys got different ways. You got documentation, you got audio, you got visual. And sometimes certain things work for me depending on the context. I generally found that videos actually help me a lot. But with that being said, you have so many different personalities out there, teaching you guys these things, that sometimes like you'll have a personality that talks way too much, and you kind of just start daydreaming and get lost in what he's saying, and it's like you're not learning anything that they're actually talking about. Like they're literally just talking and just showing you visuals, but they're not actually having you code or having you code along with them. So, and like also too, I don't really care for the videos where they already have the code laid out and they just hit run and then they just show you the result. Like for some reason, I don't know, I feel more comfortable just coding along with you guys. That way, if I were to get an error, at least you guys can get more comfortable with seeing errors and approaching the errors. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to try to keep the videos around 5 minutes long. This video in particular will be a little bit longer, just because I need to discuss with you guys some of the functionalities of Python, because ultimately I don't actually want you learning Python unless it's going to be beneficial for the application that or for the project that you're making. Okay, so there's different things that you can use Python for. And there's a lot of things you can use Python for, but there's essentially 4 main things that Python is good for. So you see a lot of videos have they go over the best programming languages, but essentially that's really the wrong question to ask. The right question would be to ask yourself would be depending on the field that I'm going into, what language is best used for that field, okay? Or at least what best language is used to start to get introduced into that field, okay? So with that being said, let's go over here. I actually made this notebook already with some notes in it. Okay, so this is the introduction to Python, and in this video I'm just going to be talking about some of the main uses and some of the positives and negatives of the language. I promise in the next video we're going to start coding. Like I said, I don't want you guys to even begin coding in Python unless you actually know for sure that it's something that you're going to need to learn, okay? So in Python, some of the main uses of Python, some of the different fields that you can use it for are the data field, cybersecurity, and then web development and software development. So in the data field, you got things such as data analysis, data engineering, data science, machine learning, and deep learning. And at least with the research I found, I actually looked it back up again just to see if it matched up to when I first started learning Python, but it still is. Python overall, among different experience levels, is the most popular. So from beginner, immediate, advanced, it seems like in the data field, Python is the most popular language. And then you got cybersecurity next. So, for example, you got like things like pen testing and digital forensics. Now, I'm definitely not experienced in, some of these fields. So I did some research based off of it. And what I found is, which I kind of already knew already, but C, C++ are the most used. However, they're definitely not recommended to learn right away. Like the first languages, like if you don't know any languages, then these are definitely something you don't want to learn. Like these are secondary languages, if anything. These are more lower level. So to get you in that mindset of programming and what programming languages can do, it is best often recommended for cybersecurity to either learn Python or JavaScript first. So you could either pick one of those routes first, okay? So and then if you go JavaScript, usually people recommend HTML and CSS first, which it shouldn't take you that long, but don't feel discouraged if it does, because everyone learns at different rates. Okay, and then the last two things, you got web development and software development. So websites and then software applications. So Python is used for the back-end development. So just to really quickly, front-end development is like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and that's like all the user experience. So all the fonts, all the colors, and all the pretty pictures you see, and then user experience. So that's user interface. So that's UI, and then user experience is the functionality. So that is when you click on certain things and it performs a certain function like that. That's JavaScript. And then you got backend development, which holds all of your counts and information. So it's like, imagine you have you got your Facebook or your Twitter or whatnot. You post a whole bunch of pictures on there, put a bunch of posts about this vacation that you just had, and then maybe you go into there an hour later just to see if you have any notifications, and everything is gone. Like your whole entire profile is gone. So backend allows you to go back into your profile, and have all your stuff saved there. Otherwise, you would have to constantly keep remaking a profile every time you wanted to use that social media, which would be very very neck breaking. I wouldn't like that. I know I wouldn't like that. All right, some of the positives and some of the negatives of Python. So some of the positives of Python is that the syntax is arguably more understandable. So it reads more like English when you compare it to other languages, and it's also a general purpose programming language. Therefore, that Python can be used for many different things. So like you can even see it up here. Python is used for many different things, even more than what's up here. But this is what it's good at. This is what Python's good at, though. So you could use a lot of languages for many different things, but you don't want to use it if it's not that great at it. Okay. So it's a general purpose programming language, so it has many different uses, and also it's not as verbose when compared to other languages. So two languages that come to mind are C++ and Java. Those are very verbose languages. So just a very quick arbitrary example, if what might take me 100 lines of code in Java might only take me like 50 to 70 lines in Python. So that's just a quick example of hey, I don't have as many lines of code as certain languages. Some of the negatives of Python, it is it's slower than lower level languages, and that's just because it is general purposed. So it takes a little bit longer to compile because it is so general. But the thing is, though, depending on the size of your project, it might not even be that noticeable if you were to use Python. So it really just depends on the size of your project. Secondly, it's not that great when wanting to build mobile apps. So there's definitely a community out there who try to build mobile apps. I know I wanted to build mobile apps with Python at one point. And then another negative, it's not great with design or game development. And that's another thing I fell victim to. I was learning a little bit of game development with Python, and then I realized you can't really make complex games with Python. If you want to specialize in game development, at least the research I've done, it seems that C# and Unity are like the best packages to do for that. So C# being the language and then Unity being the framework for that. So yeah, with that being said, just kind of go over everything. Python, you generally want to use it if you're going to go into the data field, cybersecurity, web development, or software development. Like every language, it has positives and negatives, but when I compare these two, it's just the positives just definitely outweigh the negatives. Python is just a really, really great language to learn. So I hope this video wasn't too long. I apologize if it was. I'm going to try to keep my videos very short and to the point, so that way I'm just getting, at least I want to give you guys context, but I want you guys to have start coding right away. So I'm not going to be doing this talking like I am here, but I just needed to show you guys this because there's no sense of learning a programming language if you're not going to get the best result out of what you're trying to make. Okay, So I hope you guys have a good rest of the day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.